So the schools district is being asked to hand over 21 today dollars, present value dollars, to replace this, which was built in 1995, with that. Instead of $21 million to replace Lavelle McCampbell School, which is this, built in 1920. And I don't know what message we're going to send kids. I think that's a sad comment. The baseball stadium's been there in 95. We got kids going to that school since 1920. And even though you found a solution, I use that as a metric. The $22 million school we're handing over to an area that's not flooded. In that stadium right there, it opened in 1995. This guy used to go around all the baseball stadiums and rate them. And so here was his rating. He went, he found the stadium was A-. The rating was done in 2007. So it's, it's 5 years old, but still. And atmosphere, and he rated the concessions. This is the same review, and he just said, I thought this was pretty admirable what he rated. This way new ballparks should be built. New ones. He also said there's no fancy brick wood, but many teams are wasting too much money on the outside. And then in 2007, he says, we've been talking about a new ballpark in Augusta, but here's hoping that Lake Olmsted lives on for many years. I thought that was an interesting comment. Also, it's important to know a little bit about the team. They're a Class A team. The minor leagues have lots of divisions, but the top 4, you start with AAA, then it goes to AA, then it goes to Advanced A, and then they're called a Single A. They're the Single A. They're the 4th layer down. And finally, and we'll talk about this later on, it's been shown in many journal articles and academic research that there's no significant economic effect found for new Class A stadiums. Here's what we're talking about, the move. 1.7 miles. Red is where they are now. Green is where they want to move to. I want to talk a little bit about Augusta's experience. That's an interesting little figure there. It's a $38,700,000 facility. North Augusta is talking about a $42 million par value bond. They added in a $4 million conference facility. So you add $4 million, it's almost kind of the same idea. And I'm going to go on to the next slide and show that. Again was the Augusta experience. That's a little closer view. You got the field. And I don't know what it is about hotels and baseball stadiums. They wanted to put another 150-room hotel next to the 347-room Marriott hotel that's already there. And 60 condominiums in conjunction with the botanical gardens. I sometimes feel like the plan was tried it out in Augusta, floated around. Pete Copenhaver tried his hardest, couldn't figure it out, just couldn't get it done. So Cal Ripken sells the team last year, in the paper it said sold for $7.5 million. Now the plan gets trotted over to North Augusta. I'll grant you it's an unscientific survey, but this was in the study that the city did. And they were trying to figure out why they couldn't make it work. Well, the Metro Spirit, which is a periodic newspaper over there in Augusta, they went out to the stadium. Now that's not a scientific sample, that's not a random sample. In theory, I guess that's just your fans, but people are paying money to go to the baseball game. Here's 71% of the fans informally surveyed by a newspaper said, no, we don't want to spend money to move that stadium. The predicate to forming a TIF is finding a blight. There's also an agricultural, and I raised this issue. I said, don't you have to have some finding a blight? And I was just dismissed. You know, we did that in 1996. I thought, 1996? Over 200 homes have been built down there at an average value of about $400,000. On each side of that area, they're now claiming, oh man, there's blight down there. We got blight. And this is further buttressed by the fact that within a year, and shortly after the city went forward, and the law has since changed, this very board sued. The first allegation in the complaint was it didn't blight it. That's what this board alleged in the complaint in 1997 when they sued the city saying, we're not going along with your TIF district, and the very first charge was because it's not blighted. If you don't think it was blighted then, you ought to see us now. It's not even close to that. Again, a little bit about the blighted area. Here's a closer look at the actual parcel. That's the parcel that's involved. It's about real close to 26 acres. Its appraised value right now is $460,000. It was sold for about, I got to later on to show what they originally bought it for. But this arrow right here, see that lot right there? That's this house that sits on that lot right there, right next to this blighted property. It's appraised. You can get that off the auditor's website, get off South Carolina, Aiken auditor's website, $900,000 house. That's its fair market value. This is look at Hammond's Ferry, looking down the river. That's 13th Street Bridge. This is the area where the hotel goes in. This area back here is the baseball stadium. This is the 4-level, 900-spot parking garage. This house right there sold for over $1 million in 2008. It's 1,000 feet away. That's the area that's, quote, I found this one intriguing, the last bullet. When I was at a city council member, one of the city council members said, I'm voting for this to keep our options open. The TIF law isn't an options contract. It's like a toggle switch. If we got blight, we can't figure it out, let's fix it. But it's not, well, we could do this or this. Let's go to the school board and get their money as an option. This is just, I'll run through it quickly. If people in this room want to build a stadium in North Augusta, I'm not afraid of the vote of the citizens. Put it to a vote of the citizens of North Augusta. They're the ones that are going to benefit. If someone says there's economic, Aiken is, Jackson is, it's going to be North Augusta. They're going to talk about restaurants and all this other stuff. You look on the city's website, one mill rate is $81,000. So let's replace the school funds with a millage rate in North Augusta. What would it take? 9 mills. The last school bond, you all, I think it was about somewhere around 29 mills, 28 mills you asked the voters for, and they voted you down. Mean value of the house, I just did the math. So it cost somebody with a median value of a house in North Augusta, which is $142,000, cost you $51 a year. If you have $100,000 in North Augusta, it costs you $36 a year. Campaign on it. For $3 a month, you can have a baseball stadium. Leave the schools out of it. I'm not afraid of it. The hidden cost of a TIF is this. Even for people in the city of North Augusta, not just the school board. You commit to all that tax money going into the fund to support usually buildings, infrastructure, in this case, stadium, parking garage, what have you. What you have is cost of basic services going up, like we're gonna put 300 housing units down there, and they're gonna put, I don't know, $40,000 square foot of a baseball stadium, and lots of activities. Anybody think we might need more police? I don't know. They're already talking about crowd control and traffic control. None of those taxes are gonna go pay for a policeman, or a fireman, or any other city services that are handed out. That's gonna have to fall on the back of all the other taxpayers, even though we're all paying the same taxes. And that's what this graph represents there. To summarize, we're building an unnecessary stadium. It's not required. This isn't a children's hospital. It's not a sewage treatment plant. It's not stormwater management. It's not something to apply to EPA. It's a baseball stadium that Augusta refused to build, contrary to the letter and intent of the law. It's not blighted. Using unavailable school tax dollars, they're scarce, in an area that will be developed anyway. You have the agreement in front of you. For no economic impact, research shows you that. That's an internal article that I provided. Where 80% of the fans will be from Georgia. I say that, the population of Augusta is about 192. Population of North Augusta is about 22, let's say. That's a 9-to-1 ratio. Let's say you get, that being 9%. Let's say you get a little more people coming from North Augusta. Let's say 20, 80-20. So we're using school tax dollars so people in Augusta, Georgia can come watch a baseball game. And my view of the world is, if it's that good a deal and everybody in North Augusta wants it, let's tax ourselves and do it. Let's don't take it from the school system. Let's